For our webinar on bringing some more value out of your ShoreTel solution. My name is Jay Smith. I am the Regional Director here in the Pensacola office, and also joining me today playing the part of Steve Halley is Matt Nye, also a Regional Director. He's down on the Space Coast. So before we get started, let me share a couple quick housekeeping things. We have everybody muted right now. If you have a question, just type it into the chat window. And throughout the webinar, Matt will be monitoring that, and we'll either answer questions on the fly or we'll get them at the end. So either way, don't worry, just type your question into the chat box and we will take it from there at some point. Also, we are recording today's webinar. We record all of these webinars, and you can get to them on the vertex.com website. They're all listed out there, and this one will actually show up in just a few days. Finally, don't forget that after this is over, we'll send you a survey, and we want you to fill that out because we want to make this more valuable. Please be candid with your feedback. And as usual, everyone that submits one of those feedback surveys, we're going to drop your name in a hat and draw out one person to win a $25 Amazon gift card. So don't forget to send that survey in. The goal of the series, as you know, is to show you guys some different things that can help you and your organization use the ShoreTel better. We want to make sure you're aware of things about ShoreTel and about Vertex, and that's what we do on these webinars. And so saying that, I'm going to show you the agenda we have today. Obviously, we're in the welcome right now. I'm going to run quickly through the Vertex offer portfolio, not a sales pitch, but we just want to make sure you guys are aware of the different things we do. Also, we've got some assessments that we're running right now, and then Matt is going to take over. Matt and I is going to jump in at that point and do some of the Communicator tips and tricks, and some of it will be remedial, but some of it will be also, you know, some advanced stuff that you may or may not have seen before. So after that, when Matt finishes that, we'll open the floor up for questions, and we'll spend as much time as you would like to discussing different things and talking about some of the stuff that we've shared in the webinar today. So just a reminder, the next webinar will be in 2 weeks. I'll mention that again, but I want to say that it's going to be next Thursday, same time, same channel. And I want to remind you again that my name is Jay Smith, and I am going to share with you some of the news from Vertex here. We just received word that we are in the top 1% of ShoreTel partners in Net Promoter Score. That is NPS. That's what it stands for, and it's the new way that customer satisfaction is measured. If I summed it up, I would say it's the measure of how likely our customers are to recommend us to a friend of theirs. So that was a great thing for us. We're excited about that. Also, ShoreTel 14.1 is in general release now. We have several customers who have upgraded to it. They have access to the new phone models, etc. Also, the diagnostics and monitoring tools. So if you're on a .1 version and you haven't moved to 14.1, just let us know and we can get you scheduled and help you get that done. Also, we've been looking for positions for a while, but over the holidays we did fill 2. We got our engineer, a new engineer down in Ocala, and a sales admin, but we are still looking for 1 more engineer. So if you guys know anyone that might be a good fit, they're people persons that are also super technical, that's what we're looking for, please reach out to us and let us know. Just briefly, reminder, the easiest way to get support during hours or not during hours is to email help@vertex.com. That automatically generates a ticket from which you'll be called back and notified. If you're doing that after hours, you can also leave the voicemail for the hard down option, and that means you'll get a call back from someone because we're monitoring that 24/7. We have several people that are on call for that. So again, one more time, the next webinar will be in 2 weeks, and we hope to see you on that. And moving right along, I just wanted to, like I said, touch base briefly here on some of the different things we do. Obviously, you guys know we're a ShoreTel partner. I guess, Matt, I think we're coming up on our 7-year anniversary for that, which is exciting. But also, in addition, we added Quorum this year, which I will tell you this, as far as staying in business if servers go out, it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. We are also virtualization VMware partners. If you're interested in virtualization or you have virtualization and want to look at some different things you could do, let us know. Obviously, we've been Microsoft certified for some time. We prefer HP switches, etc., and servers. Now the XIO, I don't know if you guys remember that one or not. That is the coolest SAN product I've ever seen. It is something that was founded by the guys who started and dreamed up the software for Seagate way back in the day. And so they've come out with a new solution for SANs that you can rack somewhere, and they just basically, in a nutshell, they don't break very much. They come with a 5-year warranty out of the box, so it kind of eliminates the whole we got to have an expensive service plan and get it fixed every 12 months or something. Also, the Office 365 stuff, that hosted stuff, I love it. If you're interested in that, let us know. Life Size is the HD video conferencing. Barracuda touches on just about everything. They have a neat solution for, a basic solution for just about everything in the industry. A lot of our customers have different Barracuda solutions, everything from web filtering to spam and virus firewalls to some people use it for backup. But I will tell you this, they have a new thing that's pretty cool. It's their cloud control console. So basically, if you have more than one Barracuda appliance, at no charge, they give you a cloud-based management console where you can just log into one thing from anywhere, and you can manage all the different devices. So that's pretty cool. AdTran, BlueSocket is the bring my own device, your Wi-Fi network, one of the best ways we've seen to implement that and use it. I can tell you some neat stories about customers using their Wi-Fi network to grab people's information when they log in. The neatest one is I was listening to the guys at BlueSocket tell me about a skating rink in a small town that actually added an expensive BlueSocket wireless solution to cover their entire facility and the outside grounds as well. But basically what they're doing is offering Wi-Fi at no charge, but when those parents bring their kids up or they come back up to pick them up from the skating rink, they can log into the Wi-Fi and use it at no charge, but they have to give their email address. So he has been able to generate much more birthday parties and that kind of stuff using that email list. So that was kind of cool. I never thought of a skating rink using Wi-Fi. The AtCom is call accounting. Just think everything you ever want to know about your call accounting, it's all in one package. It's pretty neat. And then last but not least, Vertex does managed services. So we are an MSP. We can help with different aspects of managing the network. So pretty cool stuff. Again, if you have any questions about that, just pop them into the chat window and let us know, and we'll jump in and try to help you out with that after the call if it's appropriate. Also, we are still running these assessments. The computer network assessment is just that. It is a basic network assessment that will tell us the who, what, where, when, and why of what's happening on your network. It picks up a lot of different things from inconsistencies in the way things are configured all the way up to just latency and different things that are going wrong. The security assessment is sort of like a level 2 version, so it's one step above the network assessment and kind of will dive into what weaknesses there are in your security on your network, and sometimes that one's pretty eye-opening to say the least. And then the optimization service is just, are you paying the right amount of money for your voice and data services? And that's something that all three of those we come in and take care of, running assessments, and we swing back to you with a really neat deliverable that kind of sums it all up. So you actually leave that assessment with a synopsis of what you could do or what things we think are concerns, and then you kind of make your decision from there. So pretty cool stuff on that. And I am going to take it at this point and turn it over to Matt, because he is our guy who's going to show us some of the cool stuff on the network side. And Matt, I'll hand you the ball here momentarily.
Great, thank you.
And there you go, buddy.
All right, thanks very much, Jay. Appreciate that. Great information. I want to thank everybody again for joining us this morning. So this morning we're kind of kicking the new year off with some back to basics on ShoreTel Communicator. Some of this might be a little bit remedial for you, but I'm hoping that as I go through some of the requests that I commonly receive while I'm doing end-user training, that you may get a nugget or two of new and useful information. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of a basic recap of the Communicator software, make sure you understand how you can adapt that to your work style. I actually did a demonstration yesterday, and there was quite a bit of time spent on configuring the views in Windows because their receptionist has very limited desktop space on our monitor. So I want to walk you through, just make sure you're aware of what we can do there. So we've got a couple of options. With the actual Communicator software itself, we've got this view option. Right now I've got it configured for normal. But if you've got very limited desktop space, you can actually select this miniature option. It will make it very tiny, as you can see here at the bottom. And you can stick that wherever you've got room for it. You can also, under view, dock it. So we can dock it over to the left, for instance. And that will make it where the Communicator is always on top, and you saw it actually bump those couple of windows over to the right. And so this way it's always on top, and you can see what's going on. So I'm going to put us back into normal mode. And again, you've got other options, dock it to the top, the bottom, the right, etc. And you can check the box to make sure it's always on top. So I'm going to put us back in normal. The other option you have in terms of customization is within the Communicator software. So you can actually, if we wanted to, we could drag this Contacts tab completely off and create a separate window and size that out however we like. And obviously, you need a pretty fair amount of room to do this. Now, where this might come in handy is for an operator receptionist that has a large number of people that she needs to monitor in terms of their presence. So that might be a reason to break this window off and make it much larger. I'm going to go ahead and dock that back in. And then what I want to show you is within Communicator itself, we can now customize these tabs and the layout there. So what I'm going to show you is I'll go to Options, and under Customization, there is a checkbox for Enable this drag and drop window arrangement right here, Enable drag and drop window arrangement. So if we check that box, which I've already checked, that will then allow us, you'll see here when I click on Contacts and hold it and drag, I have these arrows. So if I want to dock contacts within Communicator to the left side, I can then do it that way. So now my contacts are always there. You see my call toolbar got bumped down here to the right. And then I still have my other tabs available to me here. So if I want to display my contacts along with my voicemail, we can do that. So that's two different ways you can customize the view on Communicator, one with the actual application itself, and then the other within the application. The next thing I want to walk you through, and again, this is fairly basic stuff, but it seems to get a lot of questions during training about it, is in regards to extension assignments and additional phones in what they call Find Me, Follow Me. So in the upper left corner here, we've got this thing that's showing primary phone. And then you'll also see I've got a soft phone option because this is Pro Communicator. And I've also got an option to assign my extension to my cell phone. Now, I'm not going to change any of that because that'll actually cut me off the call if I do. But I'm going to hit this Configure Phones option. And so we've got a couple of different avenues available to us here. When it says primary, it says that because the system knows that I'm at the handset that is assigned to my name in the server database. Okay, so that's why that says primary. The reason that might come into play is you have the ability in the ShoreTel system to log in and out of other people's handsets. So if you're in a facility, a very large building, and for some reason you need to work on the other side of the building for a day, you can actually go plop down at somebody else's desk, log into the voicemail system, assign your presence to that phone, work there the whole day, and then go back to your desk at the end of the day. You unassign yourself from that phone, go back to your desk. When you assign yourself to that other person's phone, the system knows that you are not at your primary extension, and this will show assigned. And I've had people, will actually call the support desk and say, hey, why does my the upper left say assigned? It's because they're actually at a phone that's not registered to them in the database. And once they unassign themselves, it'll show primary again. So those are some of the things you might see there. Again, if I wanted to assign my extension to my cell phone, I would just plug my cell phone in under Configure Phones, which I've already done. I would click that, and what would happen there is if you called my direct dial number, the system would actually pick up a second line and call me on my cell phone and connect the call that way. While my extension is assigned to my cell phone, the handset on my desk will actually show anonymous because there's nobody logged into it. Now, the other thing you can do is set up multiple phones, so to have it ring several phones simultaneously. So in the older ShoreTel systems, they had a feature called Find Me, Follow Me, and you could configure that in your, for instance, your out-of-office mode. Somebody calls in, you're out of office, they get your voicemail, and you could say, hey, this is Matt, I'm out of the office. To have the system try to find me, press 1. You could then plug in up to 2 additional phone numbers that the system would try to call you on. It would call them sequentially, and if it doesn't get you on either of those numbers, it pulls the call back to the ShoreTel, and you get your voicemail on the ShoreTel system, not on your cell phone or your home phone if you plug those numbers in. Now, that is still useful, but it's been made somewhat obsolete by a newer feature that came out in ShoreTel 12, which is the additional phones feature. So you can actually go in and instead of having it call sequentially, it will ring them all simultaneously. So I have my cell phone configured as additional phones, and you see here under the swirl, there's an actual option here to do the configuration, and you can enable it and disable it for each mode. And I'm in a meeting mode, that's why it's got that there. But the bottom line is you can plug in up to 2 additional phone numbers. It'll ring them all simultaneously, and you can choose which you want to pick up on. Very handy feature. So those are some of the options you have in terms of extension assignment, ways that you can modify your, how easy it is to get you on alternative phones or devices. Okay, next thing I want to walk you through very quickly is the call handling modes. I'm sure everybody on this call has worked with call handling modes, but one of the things that consistently comes up in new installations that we do, and this is a pretty handy thing, is inevitably there's, companies have a receptionist, and then they have somebody that covers for the receptionist while she's at lunch or out of the office for whatever errands or things. So we're constantly getting this question of how do we make it easy for the receptionist to, quote unquote, forward her phones to the people that are covering for her while she's out. And the easiest way to accomplish that is actually customizing your call handling modes. So just a quick recap on call handling modes. You can basically predefine how you want your phone to behave and then toggle through those modes through the course of the day. What we typically do, and we just did an installation for the Visit Orlando folks, the Orlando tourism people, and we actually configured the receptionist custom mode to go to a hunt group. They wanted to ring multiple people. And so what happens, I think I'm having some technical issues here getting into my options. We had this issue earlier. There is basically a configuration screen, and you would just go in and so under the custom mode, you would go in and select the option for forward the calls always. They have different options. There's like always, only when busy, etc. You would just say, okay, when I'm in custom mode, I always want to forward these calls to this extension. We plugged in their hunt group number, and basically when she's ready to go to lunch, she just puts herself in that custom mode. Any call that comes in rings over to that hunt group. They can answer it, and then of course when she gets back, she takes herself out. So that's kind of an out-of-the-box way to handle. Most people think of call handling modes for themselves. Personally, that's kind of a way to utilize it at a little bit higher level. Next thing I want to talk about are actual setting the status nodes for a call handling mode in IM. So you do have an option here, and again, I don't think it's, for some reason, my notebook's acting up. It's not letting me get in here, but you'll see here under call handling, if we go to configure call handling, there's actually an option in there to set your status. So if somebody is looking at the contacts tab here, you see as I roll over people, you'll see in mine it says call handling node on appointments in Jacksonville today, and you can see I haven't updated that since October 25th, so shame on me. But that is that is where you would do that, is under configure call handling, and you would go to your in a meeting or out of office mode and type that in, and it'll reflect that information to the user. Now the other thing you can do is there's a separate node for your instant messaging presence here. So let's see if it'll let me there. That one is letting me do. So I can plug in my status here on ShoreTel webinar. Oops. Well, I'm not doing very well today typing wise. With J. Right, and so now I've put in my presence, and so if anybody rolls over in terms of my IM presence, And you can see here, just like I'm in a meeting mode, it's detecting that I am on the phone. Now I can change that, and it will show, you see the IM status at the bottom there, IM status online on ShoreTel Webinar with Jay. I'm going to flip myself back to in a meeting mode. Okay, so those are your options there in terms of making it easy for people to see what, hey, my options are finally deciding to come up with. That didn't take long, did it? Okay, great. So let me just show you. I'll actually show you in that, for instance, in a meeting mode, there's my call handling note that I was referring to right there. You can see that. And also, this is what I was talking to earlier about the forwarding calls. You would just check the box always. Right now, it's forwarding to my voicemail always when I'm in a meeting. If we were in that custom mode, we could just change that to the extension of the hunt group or the person we want to forward those calls to. All right, so we'll drop out of that. Another thing that people maybe didn't know or aren't aware of is in your voicemail, you can actually, man, I'm having some issues here. You can actually rename voicemails in your voicemail box to make them easier to find. So I just marked this one as unheard, and if I want, I can edit the subject line, and I can put question from Argenis at Westcore, right? So now, so you can modify the subject so it's easy to see what that voicemail is about. So if you're a voicemail pack rat like I am, instead of them all just saying voice message, you can actually modify the subject. And again, that's something that is unknown, I guess would be the way to say it, not commonly known that you can do that. All right, other thing I want to show you is the Outlook integration. And again, a couple of notes here. You're probably familiar with the fact that we do have 3 types of Outlook integration. We can integrate with your contacts. We can integrate with your email to give you email notification of voicemail, and we can also integrate with your Outlook calendar. So if it will let me, I shouldn't have closed that options screen. If I can get back into the options, I'll show you the section on the Outlook contacts. But one of the things that's come up in a couple of different installations that we've done in regards to importing the Outlook contacts has to do with permissions and who can see what. So within the Communicator, the integration is directly with Outlook. It doesn't have anything to do with your Exchange server or anything at that level. It deals directly, the API is written directly to Outlook. So what this means is there's an option, if my menu screen will ever come up here, there's an option to import your contacts, and it's only going to show that user what contacts are available to them. And so if you have an Exchange server and you have a public contacts folder and that user has permission to view those contacts, they will be able to import those if they want. And so basically each address book is listed with a checkbox next to it, and you go in there and you check which ones you want to import. Now I mention this because we've done a couple of implementations for large clients where the default was set to import basically all of the contacts that they had access to. And then in the case of one of these, we have a defense contractor, they had literally thousands of contacts in a public folder. And I still remember to this day, it was really funny, we were doing the deployment of the Communicator software, and one of the guys was like, oh no, and it was importing all of these contacts from a public folder, and he only had a certain select few that he needed access to. And so the solution to that is just to go in and only check the boxes for the address books that you want. In terms of the email notification of voicemail, you've got 2 options there, and I'm not sure that I've got a voicemail in here to show you. But basically, you can receive an email with a play button on it, which is the equivalent of our, I'm sorry folks, hang on one second. My apologies, I got a little dog here and people are out front. She's barking. Okay, so in the voicemail here at the bottom of the tab, you see you've got a play button. Okay, and so if I click play and the default is set to play on my handset, it'll play that on my speakerphone on my handset. Just like that play button here, you can get an email with a play button in the email itself. You click play, it'll play it on your handset, same way. Now, the downside of that is it only works within your own network. So you get that email, you press the play button, you're inside your network, it'll play. If you forward that outside your network, they don't have access to your ShoreTel server, which is where the voicemail lives, and so they can't play that message. Your second option to get around that is to embed the voicemail as a WAV file. And so you can actually check the button there. It will embed the voicemail into the email, and if you have a smartphone like I do, you'll receive the email. It'll have the voicemail embedded. You just double-click on the WAV file, and you can listen to it on your phone's media player. So that's your option for the Outlook email notification of voicemail. And then our last option here within Outlook is if we create a new calendar appointment. So let me pop open a calendar here, and we click New Appointment. And you'll see here we've got a checkbox for our call handling mode, a drop-down list, and we can drive our, basically if we use Outlook for our calendaring, we can drive our call handling mode throughout the day with our Outlook calendar. So if you create a new appointment, let's say you had set up this webinar on your calendar from 10 to 10:30, it defaults to in a meeting mode. So at 10 o'clock, it's going to put you in a meeting. At 10:30, it's going to take you out. And you could, same thing, you put in your lunch appointment from noon to 1, put yourself in out of office mode, so on and so forth. So very, very handy. I know this was a really popular feature at the Visit Orlando installation we just did a couple of weeks ago. So definitely encourage you to utilize that if you can. All right, so I think that is all I have got to cover here in terms of the Communicator. That's kind of the down and dirty. I was hoping this options thing would come up so I could show you the checkboxes on the Outlook contact integration, but it is not cooperating. So I guess let's open it up to questions. I don't see any on the, nope, don't see any questions in the chat or the questions box. Let me go ahead and unmute everyone here. Give me just a second. Get back there. All right. Okay, so I found the fellow with the feedback and muted him. That's Jay from MBI. That's you. In case you need to ask a question, you can use the chat. Okay, so do we have any questions? Looks like, oh yeah, thanks, Bob. Any questions at all? Anything that you are curious about Communicator, or even if it's not related to Communicator that you might want to know? I don't think we've ever gotten one of these done at exactly 30 minutes like we're supposed to, and we are sitting right on 30 minutes.
Good job.
Okay, well, Jay, you got any follow-up comments?
No, I just want to say thanks, everybody, for joining us on the first one of the year. Happy 2014, and we look forward to speaking with you.
All right, guys, we really appreciate it. Like I say, if you have any questions at all, let us know. Contact your account manager if you still need to be upgraded to ShoreTel 14, and I hope you all have a wonderful new year. Thanks again.